Guys, this is Mel, and I'm here to talk about The Walking Dead episode 616, titled Last Day on Earth, which premiered Sunday, April 3rd, 2016 on AMC. And guys, this is the season finale for season 6, and it was, I don't even know what to say, and it's been a week since the episode aired, and I still do not know what to say about this episode for sure. But let's get right into it. 10-minute clock. So let's begin. So something new we learned in this episode. So basically, we see a group from Alexandria trying to get to the Hilltop Colony to get Maggie to their doctor, since Dr. Denise is no longer with them. So that group includes Rick, Carl, Maggie, Aaron, Abraham, Sasha, and Eugene. So they're trying to get Maggie, but they're finding themselves blocked off at every point and turn to get to Hilltop by saviors. And this is when they truly realize that the group the Saviors is a lot bigger than that one compound they annihilated previous episodes before. So we see the Saviors are pretty much herding our group from Alexandria like they're cattle and keeping them away from the Hilltop Colony. So then, with that said, there are only a few people left with names that we know of that are still in Alexandria. Our Father Gabriel, who is in charge of the town's defense plans, and if they have 2 evacuation plans. He's also C. Spencer, and then Enid is left behind because Carl tricked her, trapping her in the closet so she wouldn't go with Maggie. And then Tobin, I believe, is the other name I know in town. And the other people are all nameless people that are left behind, so there's that. So another part of the story, though, we see Morgan searching for Carol. He eventually finds her, but she's bleeding, and she refuses to go back. She manages to slip away from him, but he finds her again, and she's pretty much facing off against the lone savior that survived her road ambush. And he shot her, I think, 3 or 4 times in different parts of her body to help to increase the pain she'd feel moments before death. And she's telling him to kill him, she's ready, and everything like that. And that's when Morgan steps in, and he actually kills the savior. He shoots him quite a few times, breaking his "all life is precious" bid he's been going on, and he did it to save Carol. So that was a huge moment for Morgan, I should say. And then they're met with these 2 guys in riot gear on horseback. Well, one guy's on horseback. The second guy was actually trying to find his horse, and that is the horse that Morgan managed to find earlier on. So there's that. So moving back to our group from Alexandria who's trying to get Maggie to the Hilltop Colony. They find that once they're boxed in, they try to figure out a way to separate so that the saviors go after the RV while the others try to get to Hilltop on foot. Eugene offers to be the RV decoy, and he is set up with all these different goodbyes and thank yous from the group to die. So, which isn't the case that we know of. But eventually we see our group who tried to escape on foot being cornered, I guess you can say, or being led into this awaiting group of saviors. And with them, we find that Eugene has been captured, been beaten a few times, and we also see them reunite with the captured Daryl, Michonne, Rosita, and Glenn, who are basically stored in the trunk of some truck until this moment where our whole group, our core group, since like season 4 pretty much, was introduced to Negan, played by Jeffrey Dean Morgan. And he explains the new order of things, which is pretty much give me your shit or I kill you, in a sense. So basically, if someone refuses, Negan always kills one person to make an example, and then the rest of them usually follow him because essentially he doesn't want to kill them because he needs workers to get his shit and all that. So there's that. So Eating Meeny Miny Mo game was done. Sorry, I still have my cough. To decide who gets the beaten fate of Lucille, the barbed wire baseball bat that Negan has. And we actually don't know. The episode ends with a first-person point of view shot of the person Negan picked looking up at him, and then the bat beating down on his victim's head, which made it look like to appear like our heads. So we have no clue who got the end of that barbed wire bat. And they jumbled up the eeny, meeny, miny, mo so much that you can't, it was never in order when he did it. So you can't even tell, say, like, oh, if he did it Carl this time, then this character was soon to follow, and stuff like that. No. The only way you could possibly tell is if you were to examine that first person point of view segment, if you were to watch it frame by frame and take point of where everything is in regards to that frame of reference, and then go back and play the scene with them all lined up on the floor, then you can probably figure out who it was. But that's like really meticulous studying for sure. And I don't know if for the comics, which I have not read, I don't know if they're following that. I don't know if this particular scene happens in the comics. So it's definitely going to be a surprise when the show returns again for season 7. And that's about it for something new that we learned. So moving on to the most shocking moment of the episode, it definitely has to be that brutal beating at the very end of an unknown character done by Negan. I mean, the fact that it was done in a first-person point of view was so different. And yet, as a fan, it's frustrating because you want to know who that character is. But as a writer, I understand having that cliffhanger. I do. But it's just going to be as annoying as hell having to wait until October probably to see who it is. So there's that. I do know that it is not Carl or Rick, because Negan makes references to them saying that if anybody moved or did anything out of line, then they were to take Carl's good eye and feed it to his father. So that right there states that neither of those two are the ones getting the beat down on them. So there's that. So moving on to top 3 favorite moments. Since there's so much brutality in this episode, it's kind of hard to pick a favorite moment outside of that, because those are some heavily focused stuff. But I will say this. First one has to be Eugene stepping up, taking the charge, and being the one to offer to be the RV decoy. He got his moment with Rick. He got his moment with Abraham. And while I got the feeling that these were goodbyes because Eugene is set up to die, or something bad's going to happen on his mission causing him to die, which I didn't want to feel, but I did like that Eugene has progressed so much that he was able to have those moments and have these characters recognize the fact that he has grown. He stepped up into his own. So I really like that about Eugene, and I'm glad that as of this moment, we do not know if he died or not. But because he was set up to die, it had me a little worried. But I did like the fact that he had his moment in saying that I've got to do this, I need to do this, or like I'm the man to do this type of thing. So there's that. Another favorite moment of mine has to be Father Gabriel stepping up too. That little brief clip that we saw in Talking Dead, I believe, the previous week, was of Father Gabriel stepping up and telling Rick what the defense plans Alexandria has and how they're ready to execute these plans if something were to go wrong, or if something forced them to make a move. So whether they were ambushed, then they have an evacuation plan, or if they have something, walkers approaching the gate, they have an attack plan. Like, the fact that Gabriel stepped up to take charge in that fact, or in that line of defense, I really like that. He's not hiding under a rock anymore. He's actually pulling his own weight, and then he's also in charge of taking care of Judith as well. So I really like that he's come a long way to the fact that Rick is entrusting this in him. So that was pretty great as well. And last favorite moment, you guys are probably going to hate me for this though, but it has to be the introduction of Negan. It's only my favorite because I've been waiting to see just how Jeffrey Dean Morgan was going to portray this character. I've been hearing so much about with him being this villainous character. And I love Jeffrey Dean Morgan because he plays John Winchester on Supernatural. I just love him on that. And then, so seeing him as a heroic father figure, in a sense, because he's out making sacrifices for unknown people and yet training his sons to be warriors. It was definitely different seeing Jeffrey Dean Morgan playing this villainous character. This charming version of him who just doesn't take bullshit from anybody. He's gonna enforce his own rules and stuff like that. So I definitely like that we finally got to see him after how many months that we were told he was gonna play him. So it was just great to finally see him on screen and see just what type of character we're gonna be dealing with. But Jeffrey definitely did a fantastic job for sure. That's why it's my favorite. Not because of the fact that an evil character had such a massive big entrance, but the fact that he was finally introduced and such. So there's that. So top 3 peak moments for me. The fact that the final death at the very end is unknown to us. We do not know who that character is unless you do that frame by frame analysis thing like I mentioned before. So again, I understand why it happened. I understand why it needed to end on a cliffhanger. But then as a fan, you kind of don't want to wait to find out who it is that was killed. Because with the beating that it took, they definitely did not survive that for sure. So what moment will I remember most when I look back on this episode? Definitely Negan's introduction, and also the fact that a main character died, and yet we do not know about it. So there's that. Moving on to random questions. Number 1, who is the character that Negan brutally beat it on at the end of the episode? It's not Carl. It's not Rick, like I mentioned before. My next best get is going to be Eugene because of all the setups of a goodbye that we got from him in this episode. I hope I'm wrong, but the fact that he gave instructions on how to create his own bullets, the fact that he kind of mended fences with Abraham, those types of things that you usually don't do unless you are afraid that you're not going to see them again. That has me thinking that it's Eugene. They got the beating in this, or got the killing, I guess I should say. But then another part of me is telling me, okay, but what if that's too easy? What if that's just what they want you to think? What if it's a misdirect? So, if it's a misdirect, I have no idea who it could possibly be. But I definitely you'd have to hit hard. But I think anyone in that lineup, it's going to hit them hard. Would they do Glenn again, even though they kind of did a fake out with us at the beginning of the season with him? So would they do that? Would they do Daryl? Would they do Michonne to take away Rick's ounce of happiness that started in regards to his private life? What about Abraham or Sasha or Rosita, who have their own little love trial going on there and trying to progress further in life? Is it them as well? Would it be Maggie, who is also suffering from whatever is wrong with the baby? So a lot of options for sure. I probably missed someone. It could be Aaron too, the new addition, I guess you could say. But who knows? We're gonna have to wait and see. Next question: after such a death that happened at the end of the episode, what is the group going to do? Will they follow Negan, or will they try to find a way out of his reign? I mean, will they risk another one of their own to try to break free, or are they actually going to follow him and be his work slaves and stuff like that? Who knows? It's a tricky thing. I mean, from the outside, you'd say one thing, but when you're actually in the situation, you'd probably do things differently for sure. So that's kind of where we are at this point. Next question. Who are the men in the riot gear on horseback that stumbled upon Morgan and a bleeding Carol? Are they a part of the Saviors, or are they part of another group that we haven't been introduced to yet? They definitely seem friendly folk. Hopefully they become friends and allies and not enemies like these Savior people have become. So I guess we'll have to wait and see. So moving on to predictions very quickly. Since it is the season finale, there are no promos for what's to come, except for like Fear the Walking Dead, but that's separate in itself. So overall predictions though, I believe the season 7 premiere will reveal who Negan had killed in the final shot of this episode. I also believe that character death will set the tone of what the group will do in regards to Negan, whether to follow him or to revolt against him. Kind of similar what they kind of alluded to in Talking Dead for the premiere. There's that, and depending on who it is that was killed, the team is definitely going to have their own reactions, not only of anguish, I'm assuming, but also maybe parts to blame if depending on who it is, might blame themselves for going to their death or something like that. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see for sure. So that's about it. Reminder though, Fear the Walking Dead is the spin-off to this show is gonna take the time slot. So season 2 begins next Sunday, April 10th, at 9 p.m. on AMC, so the Walking Dead time slot. So basically, just still tune in to AMC. Talking Dead follows right after that, and you're just going to see the spin-off instead of the regular show. So I believe it's more episodes for the Fear the Walking Dead too. So if you want to see how this all began, definitely go check that out. And that's about it, guys. So what did you think of the episode? What did you like about it? What were you surprised about? If you have read the comics, let me know the comments below. I'd love to hear your own thoughts, theories, and predictions, and what you truly thought of this episode, and of Negan too. I'd love to hear about it. Also, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and check out my other videos if you haven't done so already. Also, if you want more information about The Walking Dead, check out my Tumblr page. The link for that will be down below. It's not as extensive as the other shows I follow, but anytime The Walking Dead pops up on my dashboard, I definitely reblog it. So all those you'll find there. And that's about it. So thank you guys for watching. I truly appreciate it. So sorry for the quality of my voice. I still have my cough, if you can believe it. It's been so long. It's like, I swear, is it ever going to go away? I hope. But also, sorry for the delay. Corrupted files, reality getting in the way. It definitely pushed a lot of the things I do for this channel on the back burner. So I'm trying to get right back on track with that, since all my obligations in reality have kind of been dealt with. So be on the lookout. I should be doing a binge post, I guess you could say, in the coming week at least, until I catch up. So yeah, so if you follow any of my other TV shows on this channel and not just The Walking Dead, then definitely be aware of that. But thank you guys for your patience. I truly appreciate it. I hope you come back when season 7 starts up for The Walking Dead. But until then, check out my other videos. And until then, this is Mel. Wishing you all a great day, great week, wherever you are. If you are only a Walking Dead fan, then see you in the fall for season 7. Bye, guys.